Welcome to a quick look at the culinary side of things here in snowy UK. And now I'm going to look at some of the things you can get from your allotment and your garden and little projects you can be getting on with even though it's snowy in December, making a change from just the veg. Right, I'll just take you around what we've got here, what I've gathered from the allotment and the garden. We've got here, this is called a medlar, and it's a medlar Nottingham, which is in the Midlands. That's where I live, near Nottingham. Look at beautiful open fruit. These are a little bit overripe for me to be using for cooking, but I can get the seeds out of these and I can show you how you do that. Next we have these quinces, cannellies. Oh, I got that right that time. Cannellies. I've been using these in the house as an air freshener. Found out this is what they do with them in Japan. So if you've got quince trees, go outside. Even though the fruit's still hard in December in the UK, you can bring them in, put them on a plate. A beautiful aromatic smell. But I'm going to be using these for making a drink to cook them. Next to them I have some crab apples from my own garden. Don't worry, there's loads of them for the wildlife. I've put loads on the shed. These are to mix with the crab apples with the quince when I'm extracting it and make myself a drink. Word of warning, just remember, well, I've looked it up now, quince on its own, cannellies and crab apples are said not to be on their own raw edible, so don't eat them raw. However, they can be cooked, and once you've cooked them lightly, I've been told about half an hour on a simmer, it makes them edible. So here we have the Japanese cannellies. Now it's time to extract the pulp, the juice from them, and I'm going to make a drink from them. You can't drink it raw, you're going to have to cook it, simmer it for half an hour, but I'm going to have them together with these crab apples. I've just picked them today in my garden, and basically separate out the seeds. I've already collected some crab apple seeds for planting new ones. The same with the quince, I just want to make something culinary out of them today. So make sure you wash your crab apples thoroughly. Put these ones aside if they're a bit soft, you know, a bit frost damaged. Don't put them in your blender. I'll take the stalks off, and once they've been thoroughly washed, I'll wash them 3 or 4 times, stick them in that bowl. You know, so they need a really good wash if they've come from your garden, your crab apples, and then they're ready for the blender. Just washed our crab apples. I'm taking as many of the stalks as I can off them, and the next step is going to be put them into my blender. Oh, that's the fun bit, isn't it? So I'll do the crab apples first, okay? You pop the little glass lid on. Bit too many I had just for the first go. There's the quinces waiting. And then the idea is you've got to put this device on. It's got to fit on snug. Right, so if I press down now and press the thing, it should go. There you go, see? And it's starting to grind up my crab apples. And I can take the lid off and move them around a bit. At this stage, all I'm doing is macerating them, okay? So you lift up the lid and basically make sure you push down the apples, okay, which haven't been ground up, to the bottom, and then just carry on until they're all macerated. Right, well, that's the crab apples done, so I'll put them into a Pyrex jar and then it's ready to cut up the quinces and do the same with them. Here we have the sliced up quince ready to be macerated. Bit easier to macerate this with the quince. Plenty of seeds, but it doesn't matter because I'm extracting the juice from the mixture of the crab apple there and the quince. And I've had these inside the house for a good week now, and they've softened a bit more and ripened. That's about it really. Okay, so it's not going to go anymore. So it's straight into the cooking pan for the crab apple, and then the quince. I'm going to add around probably 1/2 to 3/4 of a pint of water and simmer these for half an hour. That is, I believe, from what I've read, to make sure that the juice itself is fully edible and you get rid of the worst of the bitterness, the sort of tannins in fruit. You can have a little taste, obviously, but I wouldn't recommend eating many of these raw. They really do need to be simmered, you know, as in cooked. And that's what I aim to do, boil it for half an hour and then extract the juice. So I've got the quince, as you can see, that's a light sort of lemony coloured fruit, and the crab apple fruit is beneath, full of seeds. Of course, the seeds themselves, if you look them up in various books such as this, the Encyclopedia of Herbs and Herbalism, seeds and fruit have got herbal uses if you want to check that out. From what I found about quince, they used to use quince as as a setting lotion for hair, and lemon fruits or anything of that sort of citrusy variety have got a lot of uses for hair. So there you go. Of course, quince is extremely high in pectin, so this is a fantastic source of pectin if you're making jam, for those of you into jam making. So if you do grow quinces, fantastic for jam making. Even over Christmas, if you're all making things like marmalade, this can be used as a source of pectin. Right, I've put 2 cups of water in, so I'm now going to simmer it. That's the lowest setting on my gas, and simmer for half an hour, and stir it. And the idea is I'm going to then put it through a sieve just to get the juice. So basically I'm only interested in the juice, not interested in any other component. I'm just making a drink out of this, okay? I'm going to add a squirt of lemon afterwards to help preserve it once I've got the juice. So I've got some fresh lemon here, and I'm basically just going to add some fresh lemon to the juice that I extract from this as well to help preserve it. I'll give it half an hour. It is simmering. I'm making sure it is simmering. So here we are, after the bell's gone at half an hour, and it's still bubbling. I can give it another 10 minutes. It seems quite happy bubbling away here. It's not spitting too much. And I can smell it's very aromatic. The quince is an overpowering flavour. It's very aromatic. Quite a beautiful smell. So very flavoursome fruit quince. When cooked, of course, and ripe, which here in the UK I'm doing this on the 12th of December, literally 2 weeks away from Christmas Day. So here you go. You can still do things from your allotment at this time involving fruit in December. And here I am just filtering through the quince and crab apple juice into a Pyrex container, and I shall add a few squirts of fresh lemon once it's finished filtering through. It might take an hour or so before it goes through, and you can see the concentrated juice there in the Pyrex container, which I will then cover overnight, refrigerate, and then it should be ready. I'm aiming to get a litre of this quince and crab apple juice through. So what I do, having read up, is you can put an extra 2 sets of water on top. I'm using boiled water actually, so that it's fresh, and basically stirring it in with a spoon through the colander. So I put an extra 600 mils of water on top of this comminuted fruit, and it's just draining through slowly. And I'm nearly there, nearly at my litre target, so I should have a litre. Should be fairly concentrated, this. And I did add some lemon. I squirted about a good 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice on top, and I've stirred in with a spoon. So adding 600 mils of water extra, 300 mils at a time, stirred in, boiled water that is, to wash through the filter, and so I should have a litre. Once you've filtered your quince and crab apple comminuted fruit through and added your extra washings of water, that's an extra 600 mils of boiled water, you should be left with a litre. I've got just over a litre here of quince and apple, and it's crab apple. Quince is incredibly low in sugar. If you want to add something sweet yourself, you can add it later to taste, but to preserve it you could add some lemon juice. The fact that it's low sugar is very good. If you want to add a little dash of honey, that's fine, but I'm not going to add any honey at the moment. I'm just going to put it straight into this container here and straight into the fridge. The pulp itself, not sure what you can do with that. My herbal book seems to say that the actual pulp has got some sort of medicinal use. They mentioned something about a setting compound for hair, or to do with hair treatments anyway. Don't know, don't quote me on that, but you could look if you want to do something with the pulp. Otherwise the pulp can be composted. Well, it's the next day now, and my quince and crab apple juice has had time to cool and settle in the fridge. Well, here it is, all 1 litre of it. This container here will hold just over 1.5 litres, and it's a gorgeous pink and deep sort of orangey colour. Next to all this I've got some of my old jams that I've made. Well, here's my Christmas drink then all ready for having a go. So I thought I'd get into the mood, pour myself a little glass, maybe add a tad of honey and see how I get on. Okay, take your little lid off the plastic jug and away we go. There she goes. Oh, it's quite viscous actually. Well, I know Quinces are extremely low in sugar, so we'll just have to see how the taste test goes. Right, here we are for the taste test. Cheers everybody. Oh, that is quite tangy. That really is it's quite. That quince is definitely cutting through. It's quite aromatic. There's a real hint of sort of like pear, but the crab apple gives it an extra kick. Do you know, you could drink that without any honey in it at all, just as is from the fridge, straight from the fridge. Cheers everyone, happy Christmas to you.